Hi guys,
Hello, good afternoon.
we should just start talking, I think, because nobody is here yet.
Yeah,
Um,
what should we talk about?
Probably IELTS.
Okay, that's a good place to start.
Mm,
I was going to talk about the weather. So,
classic.
classic British topic.
Mm.
Yeah, the weather today is gorgeous in London. Lovely.
And how does that make you feel? Do you feel like doing something?
It makes me feel like doing nothing, which is a good thing, no?
But doing nothing outside?
Yeah, not inside, because in here I can't get the benefits.
But you generally like doing nothing. I heard that your friend, there was a special occasion at your friend's house and you didn't go because you like doing nothing.
Well, it's nice. We live in a society where we're forced to do a lot of things, no?
Hi guys.
Hi.
Yes, you're right.
General conversation this morning. So if you haven't met us before, let's introduce ourselves again.
My name is Andrew.
Is it?
It is still Andrew.
Andrew, do you have a middle name?
Yeah.
Are you willing to share it?
Is it necessary?
I was just interested. I don't have one.
Okay, I have one. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe if some of you ask Andrew, he will tell you what your his middle name is. So my name is Sean, and yeah, we are English language teachers, and we specialize in the IELTS. And we are here today to...
Well, there's 3 people online. We're here today to take your live questions.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, write them in to the chat, put them in the comment box. And yeah, we're willing to take any sort of questions. So let's give an example.
About the IELTS, right?
Of course. I mean, I can try to answer some questions on other topics, like your life.
If you have a pain in your stomach.
Or a marriage advice. But I am not a professional in those areas.
No, we're taking questions. We're taking questions like, what if in the speaking test? What happens if I have nothing to say? I can't think of anything to say.
Yeah, or what is the structure of the IELTS exam? When you do that, what are you doing? It's like you're trying to get inside the camera.
Wahid.
Hi,
Wahid.
Hi, Wahid. How are you?
Do you have a question, Wahid?
Yeah. Do you have a question? So maybe you are new to the IELTS. You don't know what the IELTS involves, so we can explain to you just exactly what the test involves. We can give you some different ideas about how to answer different sections, techniques for doing the test, maybe some general English questions. For example, yesterday we had a lovely question about phrasal verbs, and we were explaining to people what phrasal verbs are, because a lot of people struggle with them in English. And yeah, so we're really very open to anything that you want to go over. And I would also say, if you want, you can write in some of your writing answers. That would be a really useful thing for you to do, because we can respond to them very directly onto the whiteboard. We can write out your answer, maybe show you some ways of improving it. So yeah, we have a phrase, the world is your oyster, which means...
If you have an Oyster card, yeah.
If you...
it means, what does it mean?
World is your oyster. It means you can do anything you want. Everything is open to you. And we're here to help you today. So yeah, let us know. Anything else you want to add, Andrew? Did I miss anything?
Well, I think I would like to start with a question that we had from
Excellent.
Malik. And Malik has asked us, in the speaking part 2, you have 1 minute to prepare. That's correct, Malik. And he asks, what's the best way to use this 1 minute to prepare for the 2-minute talk in the speaking? So, first thing, you only have 1 minute. So how can you best use this time? What do you think?
Oh, I'm getting that question.
I can answer it if you want.
I'd love you to answer it. I don't know. No, I do know.
So the key word here is ideas. You're brainstorming for ideas, not brainstorming for English.
What's the distinction?
Well, it's always best to show by example, isn't it? So,
Yeah. So I would say, yeah.
Let's take a speaking.
Like if we pull up a speaking question, really, yeah. Go ahead.
So speaking part 2, describe a time you visited a friend's home for a special reason. And it says, you should say when you went, who you visited, and what you did there, and explain why you visited your friend's home.
So that's a typical part 2 question. Yeah. So, yeah, you talked about, we're going to focus on the English, not on the English side, but on the brainstorming side.
Yeah.
So what is brainstorming? Because people might not know.
Aya. Brainstorming is, normally it's with more than one person, but because you're in the IELTS, you have to brainstorm with yourself. And that means to generate a list of ideas. So if the question is, describe a time when you visited a friend's home for a special reason, you have 1 minute to prepare. Then you firstly you have to think quickly, when did you last visit a friend's home for a special reason? And then quickly, what did you do there? So then you brainstorm with yourself, food, talking, drinks, catch up.
I'm going to grab a pen. Excuse me.
They're all here, mate. Thanks, because I'm
my pen's here. Okay.
I prepare for these.
Professional.
So what happens at the party? Now when you have the 2 minutes to speak, you have these topics already because you brainstormed them.
Yeah.
So you don't panic later on. Yeah.
And there's lots of different ways you can brainstorm. Some people like to make, I would call this a list. Yeah. So if we call this a list method, which is where basically you are writing down some ideas. Some people might prefer to do what we might call a mind map. So
Sean is a big fan of the mind map.
It's more visual. So some people are, there's different types of learning styles. Some people are more visual, some people are more verbal, kinesthetic, different styles of learning. So, for example, can you say the question again?
Describe a time when you visited a friend's house for a special occasion.
So I might put inside the circle, friend's house, and I'll put special.
He has a special friend.
Occasion. And that reminds me then of the question. So I put the question inside the circle in the center. And then I just put some things in and I start to fill it out very, very quickly. So for example, saying things like Andrew. So where was it? Why did I go? When?
Well, this is on the question card anyway.
Yeah. But when you're like looking over your notes, you're going to see.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Why? Where? When?
Okay.
Like how long, for example? How long were you there? Who was there? And did you have a good time? How did you feel? Because you only have a minute, so it's not so easy to do. But so you can't be too detailed. But I think there's something interesting about one of the ways you can keep talking in English is to answer who, what, where, why, when questions. Because if you answer those sorts of questions, usually you cover a lot of material.
On the card, it's when, who, what, but then explain why. Yeah, so the why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we could label this as some sort of technique, which is like, we have room on the side of your head. Yeah. So
You know, I can move my head.
So I would call these what questions, yeah? And you could say, like if we made a list, why, who, where, when, others? Which one did I miss?
How?
How? So this wouldn't be a what question, but
Which?
yeah. And yeah, like if you answer these about any topic, usually you've got more than enough ability to answer and speak for 2 minutes. Like let's apply them to a same speaking question and then see. Let's think. What one haven't we done? Do we have one here? Let's pick.
The gift or the museum?
Yeah, we can do the. What was the gift one?
Talk about last time you received a gift or a present, and then it says, what was it? Why was it special to you? Who gave it to you?
So yeah, talk about the last time you received a present is the question. And yeah, so why did you get the present? Was it your birthday? Was it a marriage anniversary? Was it a marriage? Was it what else? Christmas? You know, who?
Graduation.
Yeah, I mean, and these are UK things, but I'm sure you have other, in all the different countries that we're speaking to people from, you know, you all have different festivals or celebrations. Who gave it to you? Can you describe them? Who was the person? Was it a family member, a friend? Was it unusual that they gave you a gift, or do you always get gifts from them? Where were you?
Yeah.
So if you answer these,
I think this is great because you have 2 minutes. You have to speak for 2 minutes. And so if you have these written down, you can, 30 seconds, for each one, you're going to easily fill in the 2 minutes because you have a structure, things to talk about.
Should we give an example, maybe?
Yeah.
Would you like an example? You're not going to respond to me. Let's see. Because maybe we can give an example of Andrew, who loves to speak, can give an example of talking about a gift he received. Yeah, let's do that. So if the question has been, talk about the last time you received a gift, and on your mind map you have who?
Thing is, right, I'm automatically trying to think of a gift. Now I'm spending way too long thinking about the gift. Okay, so I've got one.
Okay, who gave it to you?
Okay, my mum gave it to me.
Okay, so how would you?
Right, so I have to speak without any questions. Hi, Romana. Welcome back. So, okay, the question is, when's the last time I received a gift? I have to talk for 2 minutes. So I received a gift on my birthday back in February, and it was a gift. It was a portable exercise, sort of like a rope, because I travel a lot. I'm in hotels. You can do exercise with this rope in anywhere. So it's a nice thought. It's a thoughtful present because my mum knows that I travel a lot. So now I'm running out of things to say. So where I was given this present at my parents' house where I visited for my birthday, and in the morning I opened the presents, and when I opened it I didn't know what it was, so my mum had to explain.
Great. So you can see, Andrew's like, you can use these as prompts.
Yeah, I ran out of things to say, and then
you look at the prompt and you're like, oh, why did it?
I started to panic. Yeah.
We forgot to put what? That was the one I forgot.
Okay.
So there's 5 because what was the gift?
Yeah.
Who gave it to him? He mentioned this. Where was he? He mentioned this. When? He mentioned this. And why? He also mentioned this.
Yeah, I did actually.
So how? It didn't seem so appropriate. In
how? Well, she gave it.
Yeah. So this one is kind of, obviously, you have to be appropriate to the question. So like, usually people just give you a gift. But I can imagine, imagine you can get a gift in an unusual way, couldn't you? For example, they might post it to you.
Secret.
Yeah, or we do a thing in the UK sometimes called Secret Santa, which is where people.
So you might get a bad gift. But
where people secretly, everybody buys a gift and you don't know who gave it to you.
Mm.
And in this case, you could explain what Secret Santa was.
Mm.
So how could be important. It might not be. In Andrew's case, I don't think it was.
Okay. So Tayeb, hi Tayeb, Romana. Romana, do you have a question for us?
Yeah, please.
And Tayeb asks, one best tip for public speaking. So my first answer is, in the IELTS, there is no public speaking. It's just one-on-one. But a public speaking tip, you're a good public speaker. Do you have any?
It depends. There's so many different things you could say about that. I think really it depends what your problem is. So if you're nervous, for example, I think that is usually the biggest problem that people have with public speaking.
And how do you solve that one?
Well, it can take time.
For me, there's only one way.
What would you say?
You have to keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to force yourself to do it. But there are also, for example, I would say there are things you can do that can help you. For example, try to ground yourself in some way. So if you are speaking with a lectern or like something in front of you.
You're not going to say, imagine they're in their underwear, are you?
No.
Okay.
No, I would never say that. I think that's distracting, if anything. I never understood this piece of advice.
It's very distracting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to imagine anyone in their underwear particularly, or maybe one or two people, but that's a separate issue. So what I would say is, if you are speaking and you can put your hands on on a lectern standing up or something like that, or you can put your hands somewhere where you can hold on to something, this can be a very useful piece of advice. A lot of people give a talk in front of we call it like a lectern in this country, yeah? Or is there another word for this? Like a stand of some sort. And you can actually then use it as a way of holding yourself still, because people move a lot when they're nervous as well. But yeah, there's lots of different things. I mean, knowing what you're going to say is a really helpful.
Gives you confidence.
Yeah, because when you know what you're going to do, you might be nervous, but you can actually do it, and you know where you're going, so you're not going to have a fear of the unknown. It's
the problem with universities and things. They only make you do one presentation every 3 months. So you do one, and then you lose the skill again, and then you have to get nervous again. So imagine you had to do a presentation for 5 days in a row, the same presentation. On the 5th day, you're not going to be nervous at all. You're going to be like, this is easy. And that's, for me, that's the answer. You have to keep doing it until it becomes nothing to you. As a teacher, on my first day, it was very scary. And then
what happened?
Everyone was looking at me, and I didn't know what to do, but I did a great job, of course. Of course I did a great job.
Is that true?
It's true. Because I had a book, I could,
Yeah.
But after 2 weeks, I was like, wow, this is now normal. It feels normal to me because this is what I do every day. So
yeah,
learning, improving by doing.
Yeah, there's so many things you can do. Like one of the things, just another piece of advice is, if you can, do it in front of people before you do it in front of the audience. You need to. So for example, practice speaking in front of your friends or family. Ask them for feedback. You can do, I mean, I know some people, they do improvisation classes and acting classes, and this helps them a lot. If you can go to things like that, I don't know, but it really can help you because you feel Then on a regular basis, you're working with people who are feeling nervous just like you, and you feel comfortable and you get better.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Romana has a fantastic question. She says, he can't see. If I know little, or if I don't know much about the topic on the speaking card, or I don't understand the phrase, I think you mean, what can I do in the cue card? Which good thing is we still have this up, because so let's do an example. Describe a time when you visited a friend's home for a special reason. So let's say somebody didn't understand what that means.
Yeah.
Or they didn't know anything about the topic. Should we do, could use the museum.
Let's use the museum example, because we were using this a little bit yesterday, and it's probably a slightly easier one to give an example from. So the question was, maybe we can write the question in actually and say, yeah, I can. I think it logs in as me rather than us, but
right, because this wobbles when I
sure. So the question was, talk about the last time you visited a museum. Okay, so with a question like that, some people said to us, what if I haven't been to a museum? So that's part of Romana's question. So Romana's asking if I don't know it, and then she's also if I don't understand it. So we'll talk about them separately.
Yeah.
So in this case, let's say you don't know anything about museums.
Yeah.
So you don't know anything about museums. What would you do?
Don't know the topic.
Yeah, don't know the topic.
So the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to start to panic. So we need to think about how to solve the panic. And so how can we solve? And we do this by preparation. So if you don't know about the topic, I think you will know something about the topic, because they're normally everyday topics.
Yeah. So I just put the question in. So let's look at an example then and say, maybe because you did it earlier, actually, today. So if I said to you, Andrew, so you've got the question on the card. Can you talk about the last time you visited a museum, please?
Okay. By the way, hi Hassan. If you have any questions, please ask us.
Yeah. And I've just put the question, this museum question that I just asked Andrew, in the writing down below.
So I'm going to answer this like I don't know anything about museums. I haven't been to a museum in my life.
Okay.
But what I know about museums is I think they have historical things, and so people can see them that normally they would not get a chance to see them because they are in rich people's houses. But the museum is so that everyone, I think, can see these wonderful things of history. And I know I have a friend who goes to museums every week, but she never invited me because I don't know why, but she likes the museums because she's studying history, and it's very relevant for her, and she likes learning about. It's a lot about history, I think. Museums, also art, yeah.
So, yeah, he would have to keep speaking about that. But what you can see, what's he doing? So you can redirecting the conversation, I would say. So what he's basically saying, I haven't been to a museum, but I know museums are X, Y, Z, or basically this is what goes on in a museum. So even though he hasn't been to a museum, he can talk about museums in general. Like, for example, I haven't been to space. I haven't been up in a rocket to the moon. But if you asked me to talk about space and going into space and the moon, I could talk about it.
Yeah.
There are many, many things we haven't done in life, but we know a lot about. So, like, for example, a question about marriage, for example, lots of people have not been married, but you could talk about marriage a lot.
Yeah.
And you can see Andrew is kind of bringing in his outside knowledge. So he's like quite openly saying, I don't know much about that topic, but I know and he used his friend as an example. That was a very good thing to do, because then he's staying on the topic. That's the key. He's had to redirect it slightly, but he's still talking about museums and what they involve.
How do you feel about if I said, I don't know much about museums because, and then said why I'd never been to a museum?
Yeah, I mean, it depends what you would say, but I think that is okay. What do you think?
I think it's okay.
Yeah, so for example, so I will do this one. If I took this tactic, I would say, well, I don't go to museums, mainly because I know they are full of art, mostly. So a lot of museums in London, for example, the Tate Modern or the Tate Britain, they are museums basically full of art. And I don't really like art that much. So one of the reasons I don't like going to museums is because I don't like art. I feel like I enjoy films more, or I enjoy going to concerts. So museums don't really suit my lifestyle. I also find them very busy. I know every time I've ever seen a museum, outside there's a big queue, there's loads of people walking around, and this seems like a very unpleasant experience for me. So I'm just talking about, this is not true, by the way. I don't like museums that much, but I don't hate them as much as I'm saying. But what I'm trying to say is, I'm still talking about museums, but I'm talking about why I don't go to them. What did you think of my answer?
Well, you made me laugh a few times. So this is a good thing.
It's not the aim of the IELTS, but I'm being honest, really. You know, I'm trying to say, okay, but again, you can, even if you don't have much to say, you can talk about why you don't do something.
Yeah.
We talked about this yesterday, but we had an example once of someone saying, talk about the last book you read. And the guy turned to us and said, why would I read a book? Yeah? So this is a really bad way to answer in the arts, because you're being in a way, you're being hostile and negative.
Well, you're giving yourself nothing to talk about.
Yeah, and you've got nothing to say. But you could talk about why you don't read. I mean, maybe you prefer doing other things. You prefer other hobbies. Lots of people don't read.
Redirecting, yeah. Yeah,
so we would call this redirecting. So let's go on to the second part of that question.
Yeah, sure. Does anyone have any questions? Because we love it when you ask us a question, especially a difficult one, because we want to help you. Yeah.
Yeah, and if any part of that answer wasn't clear, tell us, because we can repeat it, or we can give more examples if you need to.
Or we can speak slower if you like.
Yeah, like that. So do you want to answer the second part? What if you don't understand?
If you don't understand the question.
Should I write a question out? Because you're going to see the key. Yeah. So I have to rub this off. I like this. It's a shame.
But yeah, if you don't understand the word museum, for example, what can you do? That's difficult.
That is, we talked about this yesterday, didn't we? So first of all, what's the question?
Well,
should we talk about the last time we went to a museum?
Yeah. I don't know, sometimes you get a nice examiner and you can say, what's a museum? And they say, they give you an example of a museum in London or something. They do. What's an example of a museum?
Tate Modern.
So they go, you know, things like the Tate Modern. And you go, oh, museum, okay. And then, because they just want you to speak.
So, yeah. So I wouldn't call that a technique, relying on the on the niceness.
I'm sure it happens. Yeah.
But maybe it will happen. But what words might you not understand in here is the key thing, isn't it? I mean, really, the questions are usually aimed. They're not in high level English.
The writing essay is. I think it would be very unlikely you don't understand the question in the speaking.
Yes.
Because this is the hardest it will get. Visitor museum last time.
Yeah, and I mean, if I don't understand these two words,
yeah,
there's not much you can do in a way, is there?
Yeah, maybe even that as well. But
yeah, because this is ambiguous sometimes, isn't it? Because the last.
Yeah, if you don't understand this word, this level of word, you probably need more practice before doing the tests.
Yeah.
This is basic one of them.
Yeah. So for speaking, yeah, I mean, this would be in an elementary book, wouldn't it? Museum, you know, and visited. These are basic.
Or yeah, it could be zoo, you know, and you don't know what zoo means. That's.
But again, it would be like, I mean, I remember seeing A1, A2 vocabulary, and those words are definitely in there.
Yeah.
So you should really know, if you're doing the IELTS and you're aiming for an intermediate or above, for a level 4 or above, you really should know those words really, because otherwise it's going to be tricky. You need to cover elementary vocabulary. Mm-hmm. But in terms of the writing question, okay, so this was a speaking question.
Yeah.
So
I have a writing. Do you want one?
Do you have a different one from yesterday, or?
Yeah.
What is it?
So
yeah,
in many countries,
so are there words they don't understand?
People are eating more and more unhealthy food. And taking less exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there talk about the two parts of the opinion?
This is an essay question. What do you think of the causes of the problem? So there's not two parts. What do you think the causes of the problem and what can be done about it?
So this is an academic English question, yeah? Yes, not a general English.
Okay, yeah.
What do you think are... So first of all, I would say it's aimed at a higher level, yeah? So maybe you can talk about that.
Yeah, so it says causes. So you need to be able to talk about causes, use language.
So yeah, you wouldn't get a question like this in the general IELTS exam. You would get a question like this in the academic IELTS. Okay, so just so you all know, there's two types of IELTS exam: general and academic. What's the difference?
In the academic, it's more like this kind of question, using more academic language. This is definitely a sort of academic word.
Yeah. So courses. Basically, usually people do the academic arts because they want to study for a course, they're doing a particular level of a particular job which requires a higher level of English, like a lawyer or a barrister or a businessman, businesswoman, and you are usually going to university as well. So Andrew teaches on IELTS courses where all the students are trying to get into university, yes?
Yeah.
And so when you look at, this is from an academic English, the general English would not be as demanding. Your level of English needs to be higher to do the academic IELTS exam, okay? So do bear that in mind when we're talking about this question. What are the words that might cause you problems in here? What can be done about it in a phrase? I think that is causes of the problem. What do you think? So this is the question, and this is almost the statement. Okay, so this is the opinion, and you have to analyze the opinion. Okay, so I read this, and straight away I try to think about what it means. But you were asking if you don't understand. So it depends what you don't understand. It would be great if some of you can actually write back to us and say, if there is some part of this question you don't understand, because then rather than assuming what you don't understand, it would be great for you to tell us. What do you think is difficult in this question? What do you think is a problem?
You might not
know the word unhealthy. So yeah, are you familiar with prefixes, which is we add prefixes onto words in English to change the meaning?
One tip for the listening is you can get meaning from the intonation. So if they sound negative, and it might be negative, and if they sound positive, unhealthy food, they won't say that, they'll say unhealthy food. But in the...
I like that. Can you do it again?
No.
Oh, come on.
Watch the video again. In the writing, you don't get that help. So you have to make a guess. Make a guess.
So, for example, less exercise. You might not be completely clear on what exercise is, but in English, if you know un is almost always not, yeah? So when you see the level of a prefix of it tells you, so when you are not something food, healthy, and people are eating more and more not something food, from the context of the sentence, I'm going to be thinking, okay, also I've seen the word problem down here, so I know somebody said a problem here. So when I see not something food, I think, okay, so not good food. This, I might not know what healthy means, but I know it means not good, some form. So that's one way. And again, when I see the word exercise, less exercise. So taking less of something. Yeah. So now I know it's not about not healthy food or not good food. I'm starting to think my knowledge, because people always talk about these two things together.
Your knowledge. In your knowledge, what are people doing with food? Are they eating more healthily in real life, or is everyone starting to eat more and more unhealthy? Take your own knowledge and make a guess.
Yeah.
One thing I say to Romana is sometimes you're going to have to take a guess and just go for it, because that's a better option than panicking and saying, I don't know anything about this, sorry, because you will fail. it's better to take a guess and go with it, because at least then you're speaking.
Yeah.
You might pass.
And in the reading, I think often that you don't need to know everything. Do you,
Well,
for
no,
example?
no. In the reading, exactly.
So yeah, you're quite good at talking about this because you were doing it this morning. So
yeah, so if you don't have any exam technique, you might start reading a big text in the reading and start panicking because you don't understand some of the big words or some of the small words. So the thing is, you don't need to know all the words. You need to be able to get some meaning from parts of the text.
yeah, like they deliberately put words in you will not know in a way, because it's a skill. Like sometimes Andrew and I are reading a book in English, and we are native speakers, not together, but you come across words you don't understand.
Normally it's you. I'm knowing more than you.
You know more than me. Yeah.
Because I've read Charles Dickens. Every book.
This is, if you saw yesterday's lesson, you know this is not true, because Andrew didn't know one of the famous characters. But my point is, Andrew, you come across words you don't know.
Yes.
Yeah. So do I. What do I do?
You kind of guess.
From the meaning of the sentence. Yeah. Like, so native speakers have this problem, especially if we're reading something complicated. Like sometimes I'm reading a bit of philosophy or something more academic, and we come across this problem all the time. But we try to work it out.
Well, one word that when I was growing up, because when you're a child, this is what you do naturally, you guess. And it had the word tenacious in English came up, and for years I'd guessed the meaning, but I was wrong for about 20 years on the word tenacious. I thought it meant I don't know what.
He still doesn't know what it means.
So,
what does it mean? You can't just do that. You got to tell him what it means. Tenacious.
And another word, tactile. I had the wrong meaning for that for many, many years. But generally, 90% of the time, I was correct by guessing.
What does tenacious mean?
Tenacious means when you really want something or something to happen, you grab on hard and you really you never give up. You hold on.
Yeah. So some of you, for example, might be tenacious about learning English.
Yeah.
You really want to do it, and you won't stop until you get better. Tenacious about the IELTS. Yes.
And tactile means to touch.
Yeah.
But I used to think it meant to approach someone who, in a friendly way, to be diplomatic. If they were upset or something, you have to be a bit tactile, but it's not right.
No, so tactile in a sentence would be, he's a very tactile person, which means he likes to touch people.
Touchy-feely.
Yeah, touchy-feely is a more informal way of saying this in English. Great. So I guess what we're trying to say in a nutshell, which is an English phrase for meaning, because a nutshell is very small. So we've been talking a lot and we want to zoom it down.
So is it a metaphor or a simile in a nutshell?
In a nutshell, it's a metaphor, no? Simile is like or as.
Yeah, you never put anything in a nutshell, so it's a metaphor.
Yeah. Well, you could put something in a nut.
But nobody puts... No, the nuts come in the shell.
So I hope that helps in some way, that you can think about, like, if you are doing the academic arts, I don't think you would have a problem here because you would know these words. But even if you don't, like we were saying, you can work it out from more basic knowledge of English and go from that. Like causes of the problem, this is a high level of English really, because you're having to identify why people eat more and more badly. Why do they eat not good food? Okay. But that's not really about the English then, that's about academic problems.
If you're doing academic, you need to practice writing about causes and effects. This is an academic thing.
Yeah.
We have a great, hi Mark Max Plen, what a great name.
Do you want to rub out?
Are you a musician, Mark Max Plen? Because you should be with that name. It's great. And the question Mark has is, give me
So the demand.
give me some tips for reading, please. Ah, we got please. That's nice.
Yeah.
I can't manage time. Yeah,
Okay.
this is a common problem.
So Andrew's the reading expert.
I am. I've read the whole of Dickens. There's a character. No, anyway. So time
Meta.
and reading. Many people run out of time and they lose 10 points on the reading because of time.
Do you want me to get a sample of the reading?
Yeah. So, reading. Sorry, no, thanks. How long do you get for the reading? How long do you get for the reading, guys? "60 minutes. How many sections in the reading? 3 sections. So we recommend that you spend on section 1, I think we did this in yesterday's video, 15 minutes. Section 2, 20. Section 3, 25 minutes. How many points in the reading, anyone? 40 points. How many points per question? How many questions? 40 questions. 1 point per question. So, should you spend 5 minutes on one question? If it's 1 point for one question? No. You should be spending 1 or 2 minutes maximum. So if you don't know the answer, leave it. Leave it, go to the next question. And if you have time at the end, come back to it. I would say answer the easy ones. Concentrate on the easy ones. Get lots of points on the easy ones. And if you have any time at the end, you can come back for the harder ones. Now, time saving. So we have a text here, and then you get some questions next to it. Time-saving tips. When you get a big text like that, what are you going to do? What is your technique? I would say you skim for 30 seconds. Skim. So that means you look over this for 30 seconds and then you stop and you say to yourself, what was it about? So you look at the titles to work out what is it about. And hopefully you said it's about emergency procedures in a school. So now you know what the text is about. Stop reading. Do not read the whole text. That will be very boring for you and it will take too much time. Then you go to question 1. So this is your text and this is the questions. And you go to question 1 and you underline any key words in question 1. So the keywords what are the keywords in question 1, guys? Emergency, teacher, phone, office. You underline these words, underline these keywords. Then, because it's question 1, the answer is going to be around the top of the reading. So you're scanning the reading then, for the answers, for the keywords you're scanning, where are my keywords from the question in this text? Now, we keep saying this every day. The text will not, it's not always word for word what is in the question. So the question, the keywords might be school. So the keywords might be leave, students, and building, but there might be synonyms in the answers on the text. So top tips for reading: skim, scan for your answers. Do not read the texts. And spend, the easier part is section 1, and it's 1 point per question. So do not spend 5 minutes on one question. Skim and scan. And if there's time at the end, come back to the difficult ones. So we've got some. It takes 1 hour for one section. No. As you can
maybe
see.
saying that's what, when he does it, he's finding it hard to.
No, I think he's asking, is it 1 hour for one section?
Ah.
Oh, sir, I want to improve our English. Give me some tips for speaking. How to improve this skill? Tell me, sir, but I must wait for your reply. Okay. But what about the answers then? I wish I could skim like you. Okay, well, you can skim like me. If you get a text like that, you're going to look at the title. If you look at the title of the text, then you try and guess, what's it going to be about? Oh, the title is Emergency Procedures. Start making predictions in your head. And then it says Procedure for Evacuation. And then if you skim a bit more, it says the word school. So now you're getting a general meaning.
Yeah, I mean, I would say with skimming, it's not completely about your English skills. It is a lot to do with that, but I think, I mean, I've been able to read in English a long time, but I have got better at skim reading because it's not an English skill. It's more about using your knowledge of what texts are, I would say. So this is a slightly different thing. So Andrew was showing you emergency procedures. The text was emergency procedures. Now, I know, for example, when I'm looking at emergency procedures, from my own knowledge of how that kind of text is organized in my life, that it's going to be in order some way, isn't it? So I know it's giving me instructions. And I know when English is written in this way, it has a certain tone because I'm familiar with it. But for example, emergency procedures in any country are going to have a certain tone. So you can use your own knowledge of your own language to transfer it into English. So, for example, with emergency procedures, it's following a step-by-step process you can see here. So in some ways, the text is organized in my head. I know what I'm going looking for, even if I haven't really read it yet. But I see this, oh, it's an emergency procedure. So all the emergency procedures in my life that I've seen, I know they look a bit like this. So I bring in this other knowledge, and this helps me skim and scan because I've already seen documents like this in my life. So I know where I'm going. Like if I had a question about what to do at the beginning, I know where to go roughly. And I can apply this to lots of different types of things. For example, when I read a newspaper article, say, let's imagine the reading task was from a newspaper article. I know newspaper articles are structured in a very particular way. because I've read many of them in my life. So if I see that on here, I know they're going to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And they're going to have a certain type of tone, because it depends on what newspaper it is and where it comes from. But what happens, I kind of then know, oh, they're going to be writing quite formal, or this is going to have an argument. Or I was working with a student the other day, and it was a very factual thing from a website. So I know then I'm not looking for an argument. I'm looking for, this is a very information-based article. So what I'm trying to say really is the skills of scanning and skimming don't just come from your English. They actually come from your knowledge about how the world is organized and how texts are organized. So you have to read as much as you possibly can, or and use your own knowledge of what things look like, what texts look like, because that will then help you predict and have a cognitive awareness, we would say, in English, of what is coming up. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Thank you. So Mark's just saying, what about the answers then? What about the answers? So I keep talking about synonyms. To find the answers, you might need to use keywords or synonyms, but the IELTS works on another level, not just synonyms on a word, one word level, but they will use a whole sentence that will have the same meaning as your question, but in completely different words. So almost like synonyms for sentences. So in the listening and the reading, you have to understand the meaning of a whole sentence in the reading and in the question, because they will be different but mean the same, and then take your answer. So in this case, you're lucky because the answer in the text does come after the keyword several. In the text it says a number of, and then the answer is there. But other times you have to take the answer just from the meaning. Can you drag the meaning out of the text? It's not about really the words, it's about what did they mean by that.
Can I write down an example?
Yeah.
To make it clear? So can you tell me what to write? I'm just going to rub this out. So one question, one answer that means the same thing.
So if possible, comma, students should leave the building by and then it's then your answer has to go here.
Okay.
And the answer has to be 3 words or less. 3 words or less.
3 words or less.
Now, how do we find the answers? I'm scanning the text. So let's underline the keywords. Surely that's a keyword. Students. Leave, yeah, do it. Building. And you could argue that should, I think, maybe should. Let's say should as well. That's like a sub keyword, if you like. Now, this is question 3. So on this text on the whole, question 3 is going to, the answer is going to be around above the halfway line. And I found a word that means, so now I'm scanning for these words in the text.
The same words or synonyms of these words?
So firstly I'm scanning for these words.
Mm-hmm.
but I can't see the word leave. But I found a word that means leave.
So this would be a synonym then, yeah?
Yeah. So found the word vacate.
Vacate. So Andrew knows that leave and vacate mean the same thing.
And I've also found, so if you write the premises.
Vacate the premises.
So that vacate the premises, this whole thing kind of means leave the building.
Yeah.
So this is looking good for me. This.
And is it 3 words or less?
No, this is in the text.
Yeah.
This is not the answer.
Ah, okay.
This is what I found. This is what I found in the text. So when I'm looking for my answer to this, I couldn't find these keywords in the text, but I found that.
So yeah, premises, building, vacate, leave.
And now it says before it classes will. Could you write classes will?
Classes will.
So students, classes, kind of the same thing. So I think your head's in the way, but yeah. And then should and will. Now they're not really the same, should and will, but from the context, it's enough for me.
Yeah.
And so to find the answer, as we're saying, what about the answers then? Classes will vacate the premises using the nearest staircase. Using the nearest staircase. Now, what's wrong with this answer? What's wrong with this answer? The question says 3 words or less, so we've written using the nearest staircase. So we get 0 for this. So how can we make this 3 words or less and the grammar's still good? Go on. So if possible, students should leave the building by using the nearest staircase. The grammar sounds good, but we've got too many words.
So yeah, we're not having the 3 words or less. So
yeah,
I get rid of using by the nearest staircase.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3 words. So good.
Yeah.
Is it grammatical when I put it into the sentence?
Mm.
Leave the building by the nearest staircase.
Yeah, if we take out the, then it's wrong again.
Yeah.
Because by nearest staircase, that's poor English.
And if I get rid of nearest?
It's not, we're not being specific.
Yeah.
We have to copy it directly from text.
Good, yeah. Because it is grammatical by the staircase, but it's the nearest staircase because there's lots of different staircases and the text says the nearest one.
So you, even though it says will and should, you can take the whole meaning of the sentence, not just, if you say will and should, they're not the same, it's not, no, take the whole meaning. And the whole meaning of that is pretty much the same meaning. So synonyms on a sentence level, take the overall meaning and translate it into what you need.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about quite complicated skills, but you would say, I mean, the most important thing really is your ability to detect synonyms. I mean, what do you think?
Well, first of all, Mark's saying thank you so much. It's really helping. You're very welcome. Perfect.
Yeah, we hope it is helping. I mean, do you think it's the synonyms thing?
What do you mean?
Because it seems to me your ability to...
Yeah. In the listening and reading.
To understand rephrasing.
Yeah, you don't really need it in the speaking and writing. But to understand in the listening and reading, you need to know many different ways to say the same thing.
Yeah, and I think English has a lot of this. Like, it's possible in English to say things in so many all languages. Yeah. But yeah, like look how many synonyms are going on in this question, and then there's a little bit of grammar knowledge as well, and making sure you answer the question. So if I put it in order for this question, synonyms knowledge, grammar knowledge, and answering, making sure you do what the question asks. So task, awareness.
I would also put exam technique, as in underlining keywords and scanning for keywords.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I was thinking of knowledge, but yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Because when you start to realize then that the IELTS actually requires these skills, which is exam technique, really.
Oh, great question here.
Romana, you're on fire.
You are on fire.
It's a good question.
Romana's saying, how can I develop paraphrasing? Wow. Good that you said paraphrasing, because this is synonyms is the quick answer.
Yeah.
In fact, the best answer is...
Can you develop it a little bit more? Because I think...
it's exactly what we've just been talking about.
Yeah. I'm going to look at... I'm going to get an example of a sentence, and then let's rephrase it in many different ways.
Yeah, okay. So, but paraphrasing is using different words to say the same thing. So it's what we're talking about here, but in writing or speaking.
Yeah.
Do you have a sentence then?
I'm trying to think of one because I couldn't see.
Can you get a quote from? When would you need to paraphrase, Romana? When would you need to paraphrase?
Yeah. Have you got an example that you're struggling with, for example?
In the IELTS, when would you need to paraphrase?
Well, I mean, you have to be aware of how, because that is
No, we're not.
So rephrasing.
I think she's talking about writing. Maybe you have an academic one.
I don't know. I mean, in a way, that is like, because you can re-say the same thing. I
would just keep repeating myself and say synonyms. Writing. So if you have a text and then you have to write, this won't happen in the IELTS. You have to know different words or different ways of saying the same thing. And then it's your own words.
Yeah. What about something like let's think. When you...
I've got one.
Yeah?
What were you thinking? Vast number of...
A vast number?
There are... Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, okay, so...
There are a vast number of attractions in London.
Okay, so...
Paraphrasing.
Yeah, so there are a vast number of attractions in London. So what's the meaning of this sentence?
There are a lot of things. There are a lot of attractions in London.
There are a vast number of attractions. Yeah, so basically, if we looked at word groups, because that's really the key to paraphrasing, isn't it? Like, so I would say there and are. So you've got a verb, and then
yeah,
because this is a noun and this is a quantity of the noun of attraction. So we've got a noun in London. Okay. So when I'm thinking, like, let's put that's a verb. Yeah, and then noun.
Just brainstorming with myself. for me.
So these are just some of the ideas. But, so, I mean, at the most basic level, Andrew said change the word order. So what could we do here? We could actually just reorder the sentence and not change any words.
But then you have a plagiarism problem, but yeah.
Yeah. So you could say, in London, so that's this part, there are a vast number of attractions. Okay? So that's a changing of the word order. Okay? So that's an example of that one. I mean,
Yeah.
I could do it in a you could say there are in London a vast number of attractions. So there's another word order there as well.
Yeah, but
It's not paraphrasing.
thank you.
Yeah. No. But I think, yeah, it's on the way to showing one skill that you would use in paraphrasing, because really you would use a combination of things to paraphrase, and word order would be one thing. So for number 3,
I like this order, so I think we could keep this order and now
Yeah.
start to change the words.
So I'm thinking now, okay, in London, so nouns and verbs are the easiest things to change. Yes?
Sure.
Would you agree?
Yes,
Um,
I agree.
yeah?
Yeah.
So that's another thing we can maybe write that in, like focusing on the nouns and verbs, because it's easier to find synonyms for nouns and verbs, I think.
Yeah, we're going to have problems changing there, for example.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. So I don't worry about that. I think about nouns and verbs. So this is a noun phrase, London, capital.
We can't change London, right?
What can we
in
do?
Paris? No.
What can we do?
We don't want to change the meaning, so.
So there is another there is another phrase for London, yeah?
The capital of England, yeah.
Yeah, so you could say in the capital of England. That's another noun phrase. That's another noun, the capital of England. So I could say in the capital of the UK.
The big smoke.
Of England.
The big smoke.
Oh no.
It's an informal name for London.
Yeah, so in the capital of England. Yeah, sorry, I drop out London. In the capital of England, there are a vast number. So we'll come to vast in a moment, okay? Because, yeah, again, so vast is an adjective, so we can change that as well. But let's change number. So what's a synonym for number? Any ideas?
Well, in this context, though, I would use them both together to change.
You would change both at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you might start saying digits, figures, and then that doesn't really work.
You could say amount.
Okay,
Yeah?
right, okay.
A vast amount. Okay. A vast amount. A vast. Think of another word.
You're on thin ice.
Yeah, it's difficult. But, so what Andrew is saying then becomes relevant now, because we have this adjective over here.
Sean loves an adjective.
What can we do? I do.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
I've read all the works of Charles Dickens. Yeah, so.
Vast meaning.
We need to know what it means. If you don't know what it means, vast, can you guess from the whole sentence? And then you think, what's my knowledge of London? Probably vast means
a lot.
A lot.
So you can say a lot.
Because you can guess from your world knowledge that maybe London has a lot.
But we can't. So a lot would get rid of number, yes?
Yeah.
So then we would get rid of a lot of attractions.
Exactly. That's why I needed two then to get rid of.
Yeah. But I could say instead a huge number, a huge amount
Yeah.
of attractions.
Yeah.
Okay. So attractions is another. So again, what's another word for attraction? So we're going to change the noun.
Yes. Things to do.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing. Things to do is a phrase you can use. Spectacles, in some way. Spectacles is in like amazing things to see. You don't like this?
Yeah.
You're unhappy? You just...
I'm doing spectacles.
Yeah. So spectacles also means glasses, yes. So spectacles. Again, you can make a noun phrase here. So amazing things to do. And you can stick an adjective in here. Amazing things to do.
Or you can say a lot of things that attract
A lot of
tourists.
Yeah, there are a lot of things. Yeah. I mean, the key idea is identifying it as a noun phrase, and then you can just plug in other noun phrases that show you, that mean the same thing.
Right, I'm going to get rid of this, right? Because it's, yeah,
Yeah, you can get rid of it.
it's messy.
It's messy.
But
But-
learning is messy.
It is, of course.
I think you wanted to write a third way, like something like London has.
Yeah, so I was going to move on, but then we just used the same example and reworded it. So what we're kind of saying then is identifying, changing the word order is one thing. And then if you need to, and then you combine that with changing verb phrases or noun phrases, is probably the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah? So changing, focus on, I should say noun phrases and verb phrases, because they're probably the easiest thing to change. If I was going to give you 2 tips.
So to sum up, Romana, oh, thanks a lot. Yeah, you're welcome. Welcome, very welcome. To sum up, change the word order, use synonyms, and the synonyms you want to change, the words you want to change are the nouns and verbs. Or, yeah, even place names we changed to the capital of London, or you could say informal. The Big Smoke is
That would be a noun, yeah?
Yeah, it's a noun, but it's a noun, a real noun, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, that would probably. But yeah, it's it comes with your ability not of the language. No, the more words you have,
Yeah.
and the more grammatical forms you have.
And if you don't know the word vast, you guess, what do I know about London? Probably vast means a lot.
Yeah, and that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Yeah, it's not just it's not just the knowledge of English that will help you. It's your knowledge of
Your world knowledge, yeah.
Yeah, what would you call this?
General knowledge.
General knowledge, yeah. Like, I don't know, we need a name for that. I'm sure there is a name.
In English, schemata.
Schemata. Yeah.
But let's say your general knowledge, because if you are a 10-year-old, you're not going to know things about the world.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So we have 10 minutes left. Any more questions, guys?
Yeah. Anything you want to go over? Anything you want to discuss?
Oh, didn't we have a question up here? Give some lecture about English skill, speaking skill.
Yeah.
Habib.
So we've been talking about speaking a lot. Maybe we haven't spoken about the part 3
Of
speaking. So maybe we can talk about the part 3.
Okay, so here's an example of a part 3 question.
So yeah, let's explain the part 3 as well.
Part 3 is the most, you could say, the most difficult part of the speaking is part 3. Do we want to write an example question for part 3 and then work backwards to part 2?
Shall I write part 2 and part 3? I can probably do both.
Well, I've got part 3 question, and then
I'll make a part 2.
Yeah. So we'll write the third one in first. So part 3, example question. What kind of effect do you think changes in technology have had on the nature of friendship?
Okay, so
And we'll
part 3 before, and then put the part 2 again.
Yeah. What kind of effect do you think changes in technology have had on the nature of friendship? What do you think, guys? What technology, how has it changed your friendships?
On the nature of friendships.
On the nature of friendships.
Friendship or friendships?
Friendship without an S.
Yeah.
I know that we're all on Facebook now, for example, when we could be talking to our friends in real life. Okay, so that's a part 3.
So we don't know what the part 2 was, but let's make it up. So
when was the last time it will be something about friends, because part 2 and part 3 are connected.
what about talk about
Could be technology.
a form of social media you use on a regular basis? Something like this.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good one, yeah.
Talk about
And everyone on Facebook, you all use social media, so don't say you don't know anything about
exactly. Don't say you don't know.
You're
Romana,
you're
don't
expert.
say you don't know.
Romana, you're an expert on social media.
Talk about a form of social media.
Is it Romana? I want to know how to say your name.
Talk about a form you use on a regular basis. So again, remember who, what, where, why, when. These things that we were saying earlier, they would be relevant here.
Mm.
Very relevant. Who do you talk to?
Yeah.
Why do you talk that way?
Why on a regular basis?
Yeah. Where?
Mm.
Like, is it in school? Is it in work?
Mm.
Is it just, are they on the other side of the world?
Mm.
How do you do it? Through your phone, through the computer?
It's a great keyword there to keep you talking.
You want to have a go at this one? You think you could do it?
I mean, let's talk about
Part 3.
part 3 because we've got 7 minutes left.
Yeah. So what kind of effect do you think changes in technology have had on the nature of friendship? So
This is speaking, so there's no planning time on part 3.
and it is a conversation.
We have to think and then answer. So we need to buy ourselves time.
Yeah.
So the speaking tip, buy yourself time.
And you can see social media is kind of related to friendships and technology. But you use, in part 2, it was about you. But now, in the part 3 question, it's more abstract. So by abstract, we mean it's not really about you. You have to talk about the issues that social media creates. So in the news in the UK, it's always in the news now. Facebook and other companies like Google, Amazon, although Amazon isn't social media, but you can see here how the question is related to this, but pushing it on to another level.
Mm.
You have to kind of be informed in a way to talk about this.
Yeah, but let's talk about technique as in there's no planning time in part 3. So you have to buy yourself time to think. And to buy yourself time to think, you could say, this is a good question. Wow, what do I think about that?
Would you say the
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
I'd say this every day. Good question. It's just acknowledgement. This is natural. I would say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's thinking time. Let me think. If you sound like you don't want to, but in my opinion, I would. And I would still pass the exam.
Well, you're good at English. I would say be careful about how long, because there's a difference between and then it becomes like a hesitation. So you have to be careful with this kind of sound.
But you know, in real life, if somebody asks you this question, you need time to think about it.
Yeah.
Because you might not have an opinion.
But there's definitely I would say like the way you're doing it.
Right. Let's compromise. There you go.
Yeah. I think the point is be careful that you're not hesitating. Because thinking, well, I think that's not a hesitation. It's almost like a very natural way of speaking English, and it's good. But if you hesitate in the I think then it becomes a hesitation. So maybe one more M.
He's so strict.
Okay, let's just.
What's wrong with him? He's a robot. He's a robot.
So I think so these are great phrases. Any others? So using stock phrases. Put that down.
If you don't want to say you can say well.
I would say that is better. What do you think?
I like it.
You like that?
You know that I like that. This is.
If you're Andrew, do that. I want to say use stock phrases. More like, buy yourself time.
So then, you don't have to speak for too long on that, because the examiner will keep asking you further questions about this topic. But you could say, well, of course, mobile phone and computer technology, the internet, have had a big impact on the way we manage our relationships with other people. So you're giving an introduction. You're not even answering it. You say, yes, they have had a big impact.
And what you do there, if you do that, you show you understood the question, which is a very important thing to do. So this is feeding the question back in an answer form. So what do you think about climate change, Andrew? And he would say back,
I would say, that's a very big topic at the moment. And see, I do because I'm actually trying to think.
Low level.
Low level. So by time, then an intro. So you say, you kind of like say repeating the question.
I was doing this,
Okay. Continue.
In the same color and everything. So like the intro where you you paraphrase the question, really. You rephrase the question. You say what you think, or you respond to feed the question back. I could say, well, climate change has been in the news a lot recently, and I think it's a really important issue, but very complicated. I haven't said anything, but I have shown that I understand the question. I've spoken clearly, and now the examiner's like, ooh, okay, maybe not with that sound, but they would know I know what I'm about to do. So I've clearly marked my response.
I have to say sorry to Sean. He has started it there.
Yeah.
But I'm so addicted to brainstorming with myself, because if I don't write it down, I forget it. I don't know about you guys, but Sean was already doing it. So
it's
sorry, Sean.
It's a difficult relationship sometimes.
I have ADD.
Major, minor, doesn't exist yet.
It's a musical term.
So, and after you do that in the introduction, so rephrasing the question back and expanding it slightly, opinion and reasons. So that looks like an E, Andrew.
I don't know what his problem is.
Opinion and reasons. So yeah, why? For example, what changes has it had? I think you don't need to do hundreds. You don't need to do 10. You need to do 2 or 3 good reasons that you can think of that it's affected friendship. So just off the top of my head, 1, it's made contact between people instantaneous, almost. Like it happens straight away all the time. You can always get in touch with people.
The thing is, there's no brainstorming time in part 3, so we're brainstorming now, but there's no time to do that.
Well, I'm saying straight off the top of my head, for me, that would be...
Okay, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, this is what I mean. It's like you kind of have to have some response. But I think you all do have a response. Like, this is not a language issue. That's the thing. You need to be able to express it. But this, whatever country you're from, you probably have this discussion, you know, about social media in your country. Yeah. And you just use what you know, but you have to just translate it into English.
Can I just say, so when you're buying yourself time, to repeat the question can buy you about 30 seconds of subconscious thinking time, right? So then your brain is ready to answer it because it's had some time in the background to think about it.
But it's a conversation, part 3. It's not, they're not trying to find out how much you know about Facebook. They want to have a conversation with you, eye contact, very clear. You know, I would say to Andrew, well, I think that Facebook has caused a lot of problems for people in their relationships because rather than meeting and having deep discussions one-on-one, he can't even look at me while I'm saying this because he's so distracted because his mind has been affected by Facebook.
You know, I tell you what I was thinking about. I was thinking that Sean's answer was good because he wasn't talking about himself.
Yeah.
He did very well to just keep it general, and that's the whole point of part 3.
Yeah.
So that's what I was looking at that, saying, oh, well done, Sean, because he's not talking about himself. That's what I was doing.
But you weren't listening.
In this beautiful ADD brain.
But that's great. I think, and I hope that's helpful.
Chams. Hi, Chams.
So what do you think? So that's our second lesson done.
Oh yes, we are.
We are over time. Thank you again for tuning in. Please share these videos with people you think might find them useful, or even if they might not find them useful, share them anyway. It's been really, really great to talk to you and work with you, and really great questions today, actually.
It was.
Very good, really helpful. Things about paraphrasing, things about speaking and the reading. And yeah, we hope you found it helpful. If we were going to say, if you can, please leave a positive review on the website. The more positive reviews we have, the better for us, and so you can go on and give us a good rating, and that helps us as well. So yeah, we have another lesson on Monday.
Good evening from Thailand. Hello, Thailand. Unfortunately, we're just leaving. That's a shame.
Sorry, Tim. Thank you for getting in touch. We are live again on Monday, and if you missed the session today,
just watch it.
It's on Facebook, and yesterday's session. So good evening to Thailand, and you can watch it now, just not live. Sorry, and then ask us some questions for Monday, like you were saying. Yeah, if you have any questions, send them through, and we can answer them on Monday. And yeah, we look forward to working with you again. I'm just going to go to Thailand now. Okay. Bye. Bye.